as you're probably aware, the states are the sleeping, deep sleep state, dreaming, waking. The fourth state, Turiya, often called transcendental consciousness, which is the state that I have experienced during meditation on many occasions. And that next state, to have that state of transcendental consciousness as a background to every other state, to waking, dreaming, sleeping, as a consistent background. I think within the tradition, I think the fifth state is usually called cosmic consciousness, which is that state of being continually witnessing. And then my understanding is that the next state is often called refined cosmic consciousness. I think it's often as well called God consciousness, where more subtle states of the relative world, the universe, and finally culminating in what you described as unity consciousness, where the witnesser identifies everything as being that one unlimited state, an infinite state of being. Does that square with your teaching? Would you like to comment briefly on that? Thank you.
Let me comment briefly on it. So just how many states were there?
7.
7, okay. So in this system, and I was brought up in the same system, we go from the state that we are currently in, we progress through the states until we arrive at the ultimate state. What I'm suggesting here is a complete reversal of that understanding. Take a piece of white paper. This represents the absolute, whatever that is. And then over that you wash a very thin watercolor wash of, let's say, yellow. And then over that you wash a very thin watercolor wash of blue, and of red, and of purple, and of green, and of orange. And what you end up with is something dense and opaque. So each of these washes would be like a progressive veiling of the original white paper. So what we do here is we don't progress to greater and greater and greater states of consciousness. We take off the first wash, and then the second wash, and then the third wash, and then the fourth wash, and then the fifth wash, and then the sixth wash. So we get back to the white paper, which is what we essentially are, but it was progressively veiled by layers of experience. So we have not achieved a state of cosmic consciousness, and we've just gone back to the essential consciousness that we are.
I understand exactly what you're saying. Is that not just two sides of the same coin? Because didn't you?
Well, it's two formulations of the same understanding. Yes. I'm not meaning to imply that this tradition, the classical Advaita tradition, which I grew up in and have the greatest respect for, was not speaking of what we are speaking of here. They are, but it's, and this was something that was not clear for me for many, many years. I also felt that where I started was me, the person, and that I had to develop finer and or greater and greater and greater and greater and greater states of consciousness through effort, through mantra meditation, through discipline, through devotion, and that I would eventually arrive at this state of cosmic consciousness. And what I actually then came to realize is it's the opposite. It's losing layer after layer after layer after layer, and the absolute that is progressively, in most cases, revealed as it is divested of its limitations, and that this marvelous state of cosmic consciousness is not some extraordinary state that is at an almost infinite distance from ourselves. It is the very nature of ourself, even now, albeit veiled. So I think the formulation of the classical teaching is, much as I love and respect that tradition, it is misleading. I was misled by it for many years, although I loved it. And I also meet many people who still feel that what they are aiming for, whether they conceive of it as God or as cosmic consciousness, lies at an infinite distance from themselves and has to be approached through effort and discipline.
Yeah, I hear you, and I'm not trying to be argumentative. The teacher I had would say that cosmic consciousness should be the birthright of all human beings. It
Should be
the birthright, and
the birthright.
And it wasn't, to be considered to be at a great distance.
Yes.
But you yourself, I've heard you saying over the last couple of days and previously on YouTube, and I've only got to hear about your teaching in the last year or so, and thank you very much for it. You yourself said that having experienced yourself, understood the true nature of yourself, you then had to, or you're perhaps in the process of then going back to look at objects and therefore refining the experience of the self and then seeing the self in objects as well. That surely is a progressive path.
Absolutely. That is a progressive permeation or saturation of all realms of our experience with this new understanding, yes.
Hi.
Hi.
I had a question about the I am. I worry at times that I'm creating a very subtle, imaginative presence of awareness within my experience that sort of lurks in the background and is almost, ghost-like, very ephemeral. When I try to find the sense of presence, I worry that I'm not there and I'm creating this phantom. So I was curious about your interpretation, and I feel like it seduces me because I feel like I endow it with a lot of qualities of awareness or God, and when I tap into that, I'm like, I'm in the I am, and I'm in the sense of presence, and it fills me with fluffy feelings, but I worry about creating the entity instead of actually being the knowing.
When you speak of being in the I am, you suggest that the I am is some kind of a state that you enter from time to time. And if that is the case, then you're right. The I am is a state that your mind has manufactured.
Right. And even this, it's tricky because the state feels like the stripping away of experience. It seems like the space between thoughts, and there seems to be the presence of I am, and it seems to grow when there's no object of my attention.
But the I am, our essential being, is equally present during our thoughts as it is between our thoughts. It's just that, to begin with, our thoughts distract our attention away from our essential being, and therefore, to begin with, we access it in between our thoughts or in the absence of thoughts. In exactly the same way that the screen is equally present during the movie and in between movies, but to begin with, our attention is so distracted by the content of the movie that we first have to turn the movie off in order to see the screen.
Right. So I'm not sure that when I'm turning the movie off, am I actually creating another, am I switching the channel or turning it off, I guess would be my question. I worry that I feel like, there's the sense of presence, but I wonder, because I experience it as a sort of state, it seems like it can't be it.
Yes, if it's some kind of state that seems to start at some point and end at another point, then it is a state. So don't worry about whether the movie is playing or not. Don't worry about whether your thoughts are appearing or not.
While thoughts are appearing, and I try the wording here, but I guess I locate the sense of presence, if that's appropriate to say.
Don't try to locate the sense of presence. If you can locate the sense of presence, then it's not presence.
Right, got it.
Because presence is that in which everything is located, but it is not itself located.
Is it experienceable?
It's experienceable, but it's not experienceable as an objective experience in the same way that thoughts, sensations, and perceptions are experienced.
Right.
Our essential nature is made out of knowing or being aware. And therefore its nature is to be aware. It cannot not be aware, just as the sun cannot cease shining. But the sun cannot shine on itself. Awareness cannot know itself as an object. So it's not experienceable in the same way that you are experiencing the sight of this room or the sound of my voice. So if you're looking for it as any kind of objective experience, then you'll never find it. At best, you'll find a manufactured state, a peaceful state of mind, which will mimic the presence of awareness.
Right. I'm looking for it within the movie.
If you're looking for it at all, you're looking in the wrong direction.
I guess I don't know whether I've manifested a sense of presence or if it's actually the screen that I'm experiencing. And I don't know if you can help me with that or not.
Are you in any doubt about your own being now?
I guess my pause would probably imply I'm like a little doubtful, but I would say no. I know that I am. I know that I am here, present now.
Yes. Are you in any doubt about the presence of yourself now?
No.
Is the presence of yourself something that comes and goes in your experience?
No.
Is the presence of yourself something that ever appears as an object in your experience?
No.
Yes, so your essential being is never a state, never an experience that comes and goes. You are, quite rightly, not in any doubt about that. You have no doubt about the presence of your own being. It's true, if I were to ask you now, where is your being located now? What would you say?
Here.
And tell us more about the place called here.
Now. Here.
But is it not, in your experience, is it not always now and here?
Yes.
Have you ever, or indeed have any of you ever had an experience that was not both now and here? No. So there are 140 experiences of here in this moment, yes? Now, are there 140 different locations of the place called here? Let's start with time. The moment now, everybody is experiencing, let's call it a moment, it's not really a moment, but everyone is experiencing the moment now, yes? And that is the same experience for each of us. We are all experiencing the same now. Now we are all also experiencing here. Is there anyone here that is not experiencing here? And when you were having lunch, were you not experiencing here? And when you were asleep, when you were in bed last night, were you not experiencing here? And when you were at home yesterday, were you not experiencing here? And every moment of your life, has it not been here? Well, where exactly is here? Is here a particular place in space? No, because it's always here for each of us. Here is not, just as now is not a moment in time. So here is not a place in space. It is the placeless place of consciousness. And that's why if you look for the place at which your own being is present, you say, first of all, that place is called here. But if I ask you more about the place called here, you can't describe it. You can't find your own being located somewhere.
It's not a perception, sensation, or thought. And it is an experience? Is that true?
It's not an experience. When you say an experience, you suggest a particular experience as opposed to numerous other experiences, like a thought. The thought about dinner is an experience. A toothache is an experience. The sound of my voice is an experience. The knowing of our own being is not an experience. It is the background of all experience. In fact, it's not just the background of all experience, it pervades all experience. There is no part of experience where we are not present. Is there any part of your experience where you are not present?
No. Definitely not.
Even if you were to look at the moon at night, at a distance, at an apparent distance from yourself, is there any part of that perception that is not pervaded by yourself?
No.
No, you pervade every part of your experience. Your experience appears in you, but you are not contained in experience.
I guess I'm the sense of presence, the sense of I am, which permeates all experience, can self-illuminate, right?
Can.
Self-illuminate, like the sun?
It's not that it can self-illuminate, it is self-illuminating. It's not that the sun can illuminate itself. The sun does illuminate itself. So awareness, our essential self is made out of awareness. And awareness has no off and on switch.
Right.
It knows itself just by being itself. But it doesn't know itself in subject-object relationship. That is why, when I ask you if you know the experience I am, you say yes. You know your own being, you know that I am. But if I ask you to say anything about that experience, you find it very difficult. Because you know I am, but you can't find anything objective to qualify that I am, and therefore find it very difficult to say anything about it.
Right. And because when you ask me if I am and I say yes, it does, like, I guess we're agreeing it does feel like some type of experience, and not an experience, it feels like experience. The knowing of my own being and the desire, I guess that especially in books and teachings, and you stay with the I am. So I guess there's a goal set up of wanting to stay with the I am, and I feel unable. I want to go to it, I guess. I want to stay with the I am, and you can ask me, do you know that I am? And I say yes, and then there's this sort of, I guess, resonance, or like, I am.
When you say, I want to stay with the I am,
right?
Tell us about the first I.
Well, his name is Will.
No. No.
Okay, well, he doesn't exist.
The I that wants to go to or stay with the I am is already the I am. You are like a fish in the ocean in search of water.
Right, I'm trying to take a step towards myself.
No, sorry, you're like a current in the ocean in search of water. You're like a character in a movie in search of the screen. I want to find the screen and stay there. And so he sets out in search, on this great search for the screen. If only I could find the screen and stay there. You are trying to go towards your true nature.
Right.
Your true nature is always in the opposite direction from whichever direction you are going towards. If you turn round, it's behind you. If you turn round, it's behind you. If you turn round again, it's still behind you.
So then when you say, stay with the I am, or I forget
I shouldn't say stay with the I am, because that subtly implies the possibility of leaving and returning. So that is just a concession.
Or recognizing.
Be knowingly.
Be knowingly,
yes. You are that already, but you have allowed thoughts and feelings to obscure your knowledge of yourself. So be knowingly the presence of awareness that shines in your mind as the knowledge I am, or I am aware. Don't become that. You cannot go towards that.
Right. You can recognize
If I were to say to you, Will, stand up now
and take a step towards myself.
Take a step towards yourself. You've heard me say it a dozen times. What would you do? It's an absurd question. You are trying to take a step towards yourself.
Well, if you say be knowingly, it implies doing something, right? So what do I do?
If anything, you cease doing something.
Okay.
And what do I cease doing? You cease mistaking yourself for a cluster of thoughts and feelings.
Right. Okay, that makes really good sense. Because I already am.
When you're watching a movie, and in the movie that there is a landscape, and so you feel that you are seeing the landscape. You are asking me, what do I have to do in order to see the screen? What do you have to do in order to see the screen when you are looking at the landscape in the movie? Do you have to do anything? Do you have to do something new?
No. I would say no, but I feel like it's some type of understanding. It's a recognizing that I'm seeing the screen.
As a concession to your desire to do something, I could say you have to cease seeing the landscape.
Right.
Cease being fooled by the landscape. Look through the landscape. But even that is not true. But one might say that as a concession. So it is in that sense that I say it's not something you have to do, it's something you have to cease doing. Cease mistaking the screen of awareness for the landscape of thoughts and feelings that appears on it. You understand that in this analogy, awareness is like the screen that is watching the movie appearing on it.
Right.
Instead of the landscape of thoughts and feelings is like a movie that is playing on you awareness. And you awareness have become seduced by thoughts, feelings, sensations and perceptions, and you seem to have ceased knowing yourself in favor of objective experience. So I'm suggesting relax the focus of your attention from thoughts, sensations and perceptions and allow your attention to come back to yourself. Actually, your attention never really leaves yourself, so it's just...
Right, it's the illusion of separation.
Yes. Be knowingly the presence of awareness. Or be aware of the experience of being aware. Be aware of I am. These are all the same instruction, which is just saying to awareness, go back to yourself, come back to yourself. Stop giving your attention exclusively to something other than yourself, something that is not essential to yourself. Give your attention to yourself. Come back to rest in yourself. So feel that it is more a coming back to rest in yourself, rather than going towards something. You are already the self for which you are in search.